afternoon, St. Louis, Missouri, Sacramento, California, Chicago, Illinois, Las Vegas, California, Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, you just straight now. Brooklyn, New York, New Orleans, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Topeka, Kansas, District, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Florida, North Carolina, Columbus, Ohio, Atlanta, Georgia, Buffalo, New York, and Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Kansas City Chiefs, who will be playing this afternoon at 3:30 this afternoon. Welcome to with Consideration and Congress for a beautiful Saturday, January the 21st, 2023. My name is Fowlkes, a little boy, a little raspy here, I think we all are. This is in the neighborhood. My name is Fowlkes, your host, and along with Elder Lyles, whose voice is alive in the world. How you doing, Red? Fine. And how's the family? Fine. Excuse me, and how's the wife doing? Fine. That's all good. I know the choir directors are on leave from your house this weekend, so you got a break. Oh yeah. Okay, Brother Scott, your voice like my voice today, somewhat raspy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
You sound like one of the Temptations, almost that red.
There we go.
You sound like Melvin. Yeah, Temptations. Okay. Yeah, that was Melvin with that deep voice. you got a deep bass today, okay? We'll be joined later on by Chuck DeBow. But right now, we're broadcasting live on Ferguson, USA, HotTalkRadio.com from beautiful Woodson Terrace, North County, St. Louis, Missouri City, and also in Missouri. And without further ado, we have a prayer with Elder Lyles, whose voice is doing real well. He's the pastor of the One Love Park Bible Chapel Church located at 547 Unit, St. Louis, at 6120. Pastor Lyles, who's giving us our prayer today, as usual every Saturday. He's the pastor of One Love Park Bible Chapel Church located in North St. Louis at 5547 Unit. That's in beautiful One Love Park, also 6120. The next voice you hear with a clear voice. From the three of us today, we can get our Reverend Pastor Lyles. He's the pastor of One Love Park Bible Chapel Church located at 5547 Dillon Avenue, 6112, and that's North St. Louis. Reverend, how you doing today, sir? First, I'll pray for our voices. Amen. Okay, Reverend, come on. What you got for us, sir? Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we continue to thank you for your wonderful gospel, how that Christ died for our sin, was buried, and rose again. I continue believing to the saving of the soul, continues to make heaven your home before you sleep and after you sleep. We still like to send praises up to Lord, the Alpha, Omega, beginning and the end, and the first and the last. Heavenly Father, we thank you for waking us up this morning too, because we could do nothing without you. And you showing us a day we never seen before. And we ask that we have a wonderful fellowship with you. In Jesus' most precious name, amen. Reverend Lyles, we want to thank you for that beautiful prayer. As a matter of fact, very uplifting, needless to say. But we just want to thank you so much for all you've done, for the prayers you give us every week, Heavenly Father. And just thank you. Bless you and your family. Well, what is the lesson for this week, Red? What you got for us? Well, I'm going to some more attributes, but these are the attributes, the fruit of the Spirit. Okay. See, the saints needs to know this about the fruit of the Spirit. It's 17 the works of the flesh attributes for the old man, and it's 9 for the new man. Okay. Now, it said, but the Christian character is not mere moral or legal correctness, but the possession and manifestation of 9 graces: love, joy, peace, character as an inward state. That's what those first 3 is for, the inward state. Long suffering, gentleness, goodness, character, and the expression is toward
Man, that's what you have towards your brothers and sisters in Christ. And the third one is faith, meekness, temperance. It's the character and the expression toward God.
Real, could you please repeat those again? Okay, please. That is so powerful. Please, please.
All right. The correction.
This time you got to do that 3 times because you got to write those down because you kind of caught me off guard with the ones you gave me because those are so much a part of our everyday life and we need that. We need that for our lives every day.
But the Christian character is not mere moral or legal correctness, but the possession and manifestation of 9 graces: love, joy, peace. That character says in the inward state. That's for the inward state for you.
He's a man.
Yeah. And the next one is the long suffering, the gentleness, and the goodness character and expression toward man. You need all that for man, because otherwise you'll probably try to hurt him. That's why you need that godly spirit in you, so you won't hurt man.
Amen. Amen and amen. Amen. We need that today more so than ever before, real.
Now the next is, and the third is the faith, meekness, and temperance. Temperance means self-control. You know, most people say, I just couldn't help myself, but the fruit of the spirit say you got self-control. And these people get carried away, be hollering and rolling out on the phone, rolling and stuff like that. That ain't the spirit of God.
Amen.
That's that envy spirit. That's from below, which is the devil and his demons. That's they foolishness. What they do when they go to a ball game and all that.
Yes.
And that's that faith, meekness, and temperance, the character and the expression toward God. See, it's between you and God. Now, we're going to compare this with, let's go to John 15. We're going to compare them 9 fruits of the Spirit. Go to John 15.
Big John.
Thank John.
Big John. Yes. Thank John.
Yeah. 15 and verse 1 through 5. It says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that bear fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now, ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abide in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. Now, I'm going to tell the people something about the Spirit of God. You know, everybody thinks that we're going to be seeing that, we're going to be recognizing each other and talking about with each other. But we're not going to be, this vine right here is showing you a type of Christ in heaven and how we're going to be with him forever and ever. Everywhere he goes, we're going to go because he's that vine that shows us that we are involved with him, and everybody gonna see him. Ain't that wonderful? We gonna see him. We're not gonna know nothing about our mother, our father, our uncle. That's down here talk. But up in heaven is a whole different thing.
I think that's the whole thing, okay, that a lot of people, miss that, or when they're listening too well, but they're not hearing the exact words that have to be said. You say, I say, we all be, we transform, like he needs to transform to a whole new person.
Yeah.
Not your old self.
Right.
That when you can't identify, you can't see your old self. Which is a good thing in some cases. Very good way. Good thing is.
That's why I said we ought to read and stick to the book instead of our filthy imagination of what we think it is. I heard some preachers be saying, well, let me put it this way. No, don't let you put nothing this way. You said what the book said. Bibliology. God's mind. Don't be putting nothing in your word, because it said there's no good thing that dwells in the flesh. Huh? Ain't nothing good in you. You either the preacher, if you're preaching, still ain't no good in you. God said that. So y'all better stop that mess and carrying on like that and do the Bible, Bibliology.
Yes.
Now, here's a part that bring that all into more is look at Galatians 2 and verse 20. It said, see, when Christ died, I died. When Christ was buried, I was buried. When Christ rose, I rose. When Christ went into heaven, I was in heaven too. I went to heaven too. I did everything that he did because he the one made it possible.
Amen.
That's why I said, this is why I'm saying Galatians 2 and 20 said, the Christian life is the outliving of the in-living Christ. I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me.
Amen.
And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. Amen. That's the end of that message, Brother Brother Allen.
Well, Rev, I'm not gonna lie to you. You have given some powerful messages over the years that we have heard from you. Okay, but I had to put this up there as being probably one of the better ones. Okay, so you actually speaking here today, Rev, to things that we all have to see ourselves in what we being taught. How does it affect me? How does it deal with me? Okay. Now, you kind of connected all the dots, from last week to this week, and to the things, okay, that matters most with people, like how you get along with people, and how your inner self connects the outer self. Then how you going to transcend. And I think what you just did in Galatians 2:20 actually brought them all together, just in a nice knot, so to speak, in a nice package. And that was powerful, there.
Amen.
That was very, very powerful. I know Scott, his voice was good today. He'd be saying, "Amen" with me today.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, okay, because really, that's the thing that we do in our everyday lives, And I think right now, that people should understand that none of us, we are his creations. And I think right now, what you just did today, I know there are 10 commandments, but I think here you kind of broke them down here in 9 different areas that that we deal with every day, that we can comprehend, that we can relate to, for lack of better description.
Amen.
And I just want to thank for that. That was actually, like I said, a great message today. And I just thank you so much, okay, for the message that you bring us, okay, and also for how much today you said you make it plain. You know what the Bible says, make it plain.
Yes, sir. A baby can understand it.
A baby can understand this,
And the baby don't even know how to talk or read.
No. Well, really, what babies do, okay, and people don't understand this. You can tell your child what to do, what does, and you can put it in writing to them, okay. But the thing that's gonna matter to him the most, okay, he really watch what you're doing.
Amen.
He's gonna try to do what Daddy did or what Mama did.
Sure is.
Then what Mama said, or like now you seeing. I hate to get on this soapbox here, but you seeing with all these guns, in the schools now. This past couple of weeks, you got young kids in grade school, shooting their teachers, bringing guns to school. Well, first off, no kid can buy a gun. Okay, first of all, okay. No kid can load a gun, okay. Nor can any kid, learn how to respond to somebody that they mad at. They watch their parents do this kind of stuff.
Aaron, remember those attributes of wickedness, and you think maybe their parents is telling them to go there and shoot up the school and stuff? You can't say they ain't. You hope they wouldn't. You hope they ain't doing that, but they could be doing that.
Well, I think they're saying things, okay, that kids don't understand the actual meaning, okay, and they just only what they're doing is they're taking it, okay, and dissecting it that they understand it and they comprehending it. Their version of what's being heard.
Yep. Somebody's behind the action that's taking place out here in the sinful world. Somebody's behind that what makes that possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no doubt about that, Rev. It's like again. We have to understand that we got to be watchful what we say around our kids.
Yep. You know what they be saying, Ira? Don't say what I say. You do what I tell you to do. Well, what you tell them to do ain't no good.
No. Again, like I said before, I know my kids, as I gotten older, and I'm matter of fact, I watch my kids, and I watch my grandkids, okay? do what my kids did, okay? And so, and now I've heard my own kids telling me, well, Daddy, I saw you, I watched you, I read you did this or you did that. And they are following in my steps. And thank God, okay, I did a lot of things right. One of which was reading the Bible, okay, and keeping it in church, okay. But I'm saying, your kids are going to watch what you do so carefully. I mean, and you always say, my kids are just like me. Well, you want to be just like you. Watch what you're teaching them.
Amen.
What could you stand in front of them? If nothing else takes place today, I'll that's a message today that comes out of this, okay, teach your kids, okay, the way to go. You see what they say in the Bible? Teach them up,
it said, train up a child in the way he must go, and then he would not depart.
Right. Okay. So I think now, okay, the principle you just gave this afternoon, kind of, actually speaks directly to those things. Yeah. It speaks directly to those things. And that's why I said again, I want to just thank you so much for the message today. That like I said, out the park, and they say, kids are off the chain, but a great thing to hear. And I just said, thank all of our listeners who join us every Saturday. Oh my God, since 2015, okay, that you can learn more than you did before. And Pete tell a friend about lunch with the Kingdom Comrades. My name is Howard, folks. The message you heard today was from Reverend Elder Allen Lyles, the right Elder Reverend Allen Lyles, Pastor one of Paul Bible Church. And that's Scott Owens, our general manager and our engineer and our brother-in-law, who voices under, we said we really help each other right now. So Scott, I'm gonna say, no matter what, the wife is doing fine. Also, he told me that already. Also, before the show. So I'm gonna say that, okay. But on that note, I love you, brother. Hope your voice gets better, like mine is getting better, okay. My name is Howard Phillips. That's Scott Detra. Scott, you get out of here.
Amen.
Okay. Good afternoon, St. Louis, Missouri, and around the world. We listen to lunch with some Zimbabwean comments for a beautiful, beautiful Saturday in the city of St. Louis and around the world. Matter of fact, one of the things that we cannot overlook is our weather that we're having. Last week we were in the 60s here in St. Louis. Today we are starting in the 20s, like in the 30s, going to 40s. And before the next week is out, we will be having snow. But again, it is winter. And I'm making a point here is that around the country, we get flash floods in California. I mean, not only floods, weather we never seen before in our entire lives. It's okay, Northern California weather. But we have a landslides, cities with some type of water. And then the other part of the state is still having a drought. And then also like in New York this time of year, there in Washington, D.C., they're going, at this point, they're saying they're going to over 300 days without any snow. And so I'm saying now this is not a typical weather pattern, weather that we've been used to over the years. So right now, anyone tell us not that global warming is not taking place, the temperatures in the world are not changing. And around the world, we don't talk about it all the time, but there are earthquakes taking place. There are volcanoes going off over in Hawaii. And like as Bob would tell you, this sounds like, Reb, and you can back me up on this, there will be these type of things taking place in our lifetime. And right now, we are seeing a lot of things taking place in our lifetime. And these are those right now, because we're still kind of coming out of the pandemic. But I'm happy to say, according to CNN, that the flu, the COVID-19, and the RSV season, the viruses, I should say, things that affect our respiratory systems are now starting to drop the lowest level in 3 months. Now, that's not saying everyone is feeling better, okay, but it doesn't mean that people are starting to feel better. And so that's a good sign. We need to help that continue to get better. Now, as you see, and more people wearing their face masks now than ever before. They haven't used a couple of years now. And also they're trying to make social distance as much as they can. And the thing that we tell you never forget to do is wash your hands. Now, don't touch your face. Those are the things, okay, that determine how your body is going to receive. If you keep those things out of your body, it protects your inner body. So we're telling you, please, if you do that the best you can, protect yourself from all these types of things, okay, that are affecting you. The respiratory system is very important. That's when that was my sinus today. Okay, that's respiratory. Okay, all right, Real? Right. And the COVID-19 is now attacking people's respiratory system. And in the flu, being those all together, that's a heck of a bad combination that they have to deal with. But right now, I'm happy to say that from reports are saying that matter of fact, it said that the deaths are leveling off. We're not having as many as we had in the past, which is a good thing. The hospitalizations, that's another good thing. We just ask that we continue to go in that direction and just listen to things we are saying. Also listen to what science is saying. The doctors are telling you. My doctor told me a couple years ago, the face mask is not going to go away no time soon. And then that you come to see me, so last week, you had to pay your face mask. I said, yes, ma'am. But anyway, again, this is a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, one thing I'd like to get it without the script schedule today. One of the things that we're dealing with here, and most of it never before, people are familiar with 911 means. They got 411 and they got 211. But the number 988 is a number that we all should share with all of our friends, our children at an early age. 988 is a suicide hotline. Of more than ever before, you have more people who are being depressed now. I mean, young people are being depressed. And all things are not being addressed in our lives. Just as we on the air right now speaking, there's a hospital in Florida that's on lockdown. Because there's a shooting going on. And these are things that take place, okay? Because after a certain while, people get stressed out, taking care of your loved one. Seeing them, not come around in a timely manner we would like for them to do. And if you continue going to your doctors, all reports are always good. And people get depressed. You go to your doctors, and they ask you, are you depressed? Are you okay? Are you sleeping? Well, doesn't mean if you're not doing those things, how can I get help for the night? Call 988. It's a 24-hour line that anyone can call. It's free. And, share with your kids. We talked a few minutes ago about sharing stuff with your kids. Share that number with them also, like you did with 911. If you sit them down and you put them back and you talk to somebody, you can't talk to your mother or your father or your parents or you, your mother or your husband, your wife, call 988 and get some counseling. That's the thing that that all of us need at some point in their lives, is about talking to somebody else that understands you. So I thought I had put it in there also, and also this has been a very interesting week for the news. Matter of fact, something that put the company in an uproar back in May of last year, May 3rd. If you're not aware, on May 3rd, 2022, a Supreme Court draft opinion was leaked, let out. Suggests that the 1973 Roe versus Wade, which made abortion legal, would be overturned. Now, just the fact of the rumor, okay, that it would be legal, immediately put people in the streets right away. Protests are taking place all around the country. Matter of fact, and then during that, Justice Clarence Thomas made a comment that, well, we're not going to stop there. We have other plans. Well, needless to say, later on that summer, what we had read about or heard about became a reality. And the Roe versus Wade was overturned. And that changed our politics. As a matter of fact, one of the things that women who had this right for over 50-some years have been accustomed to, pulling their bodies. and people not understand what I'm talking about here. Roe versus Wade gave a woman the control of bodies. Went to have a baby, and she was raped, that found her body, okay. She had some options, okay, to live her life. It also control, how should she go to college? Could she start a family when she wanted to? When could she put out getting married, okay? And so when that changed around, that not only did that create turmoil, in the election last year in 2022, in that the election was different, okay, because a lot of women came out and voted in favor of the Democrats, because when it happened here, it's that, there's always research being done. But one of the things that was very much been documented here, that there was a plan by the Republican Party, Democrat Republican, this is just information that you need to know, that the Supreme Court was put there not to be a Democratic Party or a Republican Party. It was meant to be there for the people. And so now when you kind of politicize that, by that I mean is that the Republicans that you noticed in the last couple of years, after they put 3 more justices on the Supreme Court that were in favor of abortion, but said they were not before they were confirmed. They didn't have an opinion, but they were put there. And once they were put there, all the Republican legislators around the country all started passing bills so they could be appealed to get to the Supreme Court, so they could challenge Roe versus Wade. Well, that showed, and it's been documented, okay, there was a plan that was hatched, and it's working. And that really is against our whole Supreme Court system. And that's not the way it should be. But you're going to hear more about this in the coming weeks, okay? But right now, Chief Justice John Roberts, requiring an investigation to take place after the leak. And I will say this, you heard this already probably, that the investigators, the investigation had over 126 formal reviews. Now, this is with the justices, the clerks, the family, the people that interface with them, and also the over 97 employees. In some cases, Supreme Court justices themselves were interviewed. Well, the marshal for the Supreme Court, a lady by the name of Gail Curtin, talked about it before, had this investigation, and they found they could not trace who said or who done it. So it's one of those Christian novels. Then we find out we'll know. But the one thing that the Bible tells us, okay, is that right now, some of the justices right now are not getting along for the first time in our history. That that right now we got justice against justice now. I mean, they're not as cohesive as they used to be. Because right now somebody planted a seed, you follow me, Ray? And that seed has now grown up and creating chaos in our justice system. That's a one thing, okay, that should be always nonpartisan. You go to court, the judges should be nonpartisan. But I said nonpartisan, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, none of that. These are supposed to be for the people. And so right now, this is some of the things that's taking place. And what I just said about the justice not getting along, that was from an article that was recently printed in the Atlantic magazine by a gentleman by the name of Stephen May. And that's an article you need to get a copy of in the Atlantic magazine. It gets down to the more details that I'm giving you today. But also, we have to say that, what this is done in the sense that the justices seem to not be more impatient with each other. They're more frustrated with each other. Sometimes, on disrespect in public, so to speak. Not good. And also here in St. Louis, just this past week, we had a lot of our religious leaders, not just from one faith, multiple faiths, filed a lawsuit. It was in the circuit court here to overturn a Missouri law banning banning abortion. Now, they are done it across the country and this weekend. And the one thing that we should all be aware of, okay, is that of our rights. Figure out when something goes on, do your research. Don't listen to idle folks. Don't listen to real. Don't listen to Scott. We need to document where we're going here. Another big thing that's looked us in the face that's very important to all of us right now is the number of $31 trillion. 31 trillion. That's not billion. 31 trillion. $381 trillion. That is our debt limit that we are ran up against this past Thursday. Now, what this means, this is unofficial, not unofficial, it's the number that our country, the money that we have spent, that we owe. And so now, and that's our budget coming up for the next year. Every year, the Congress and the president get together, we got a budget, how much money we're going to need to keep our government running. And right now, the president and the Speaker of the House is together called all bills, spending bills, stored in the House of Representatives. And right now, when we all seen the House of Representatives coming in chaos right now. But the one thing that they all got to come together on, okay, is our count, on the on our American debt ceiling. And so we're going to hear a lot about this in the next couple of months, I should say. But it's going to, at the end of the day, it has to work out. Otherwise, trying to say we fault on our bills, not on here around the world, our credit goes down. That is not a good thing. But just watch those things yourself personally, what is going on, and follow those things. And also, a number of people seeking unemployment benefits in the last 4 months has reached a 4-month low in this past week, and that's a good thing. But now, having said that, a lot of you reading about Microsoft. I go down the whole list. All of the high-tech companies right now are cutting jobs. Now, these are not manufacturing jobs. These are jobs that the IT people, the technology people that actually running to make things go here, research and stuff like that. Well, those jobs are being cut. Now, these are very, very high-paying jobs. Now, I don't know if you're aware of that. If you've been on unemployment before, it does not pay what these jobs pay. I mean, this does not pay what these jobs pay. Unemployment does. So that's not going to be a good thing. And not only just Twitter, you read about that, but also Google, Meta. I mean, I just got on a whole list of them. At some point, they all they cut jobs. And this is going to affect all of us at the end of the day here. But again, we were on a good road. You heard about the housing bubble that popped some years ago. Then we heard about the boom, before there was other booms and things that hit our country. But right now, this is going to be a massive hit to our country. And also, as our population continues to grow, matter of fact, just this past week, the oldest lady in the world just passed away. In fact, this is according to Guinness Book of Records. And she was 17, 19 years old. Get that right here. She was 100 and what? 100. I didn't put her age down here, but she passed away. She would have lived to be. Oh my God! I looked it up for me, okay? But she just she was in France and she was in southern France. Just passed away. And another thing here also, that's taking place here is when we talk about trust, and people not believing in people, a large hit is about to take place in our industry of telecommunication. Fox News right now, people not aware, there's a $1.6 billion lawsuit, defamation suit. That's when you talk about somebody and people catch you lying about themselves, they sue you. Well, Dominion voting system filed a suit against Fox News, and they're doing the election 2020. They lied about their assistants, being unreliable, and it cost them a lot of money. And that was, spoken all around the world, you know what I mean, and it hurt their business. And so they sued us. Now, if you're not aware, Fox News is owned by a gentleman by the name of Rupert Murdoch. And he's from down in Australia. He has news stations, TV stations, cable systems all around the world, like in England, also in Australia, and also in this country. Well, that word was spread all those different places. But right now, he just got deposed. And what that means is, in a lawsuit that normally settled out of court, Dominion is not backing away. That means that this is going to come to a head at some point. Somebody got to blink, somebody got to settle. And right now, Dominion said, you're not backing down. So you get up to the chairman of the board, CEO, like Mr. Rupert, that means this is not a good thing. Matter of fact, all the local people that work with him, John Hannity and other people that you see at Fox News, they already have came in and y'all have admitted, okay, they lied about the elections. They knew they were lying on the air. The one thing that we don't do on this show, we don't lie. If we tell a lie, we correct it as soon as we can. But right now, most times people are aware Scott is in the computer. Most times I'm be on the air. If I'm making a mistake, he's gonna tell me this. Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. And so we ask you to please. And another thing that's not good in the state of Florida, the governor down there is fighting against Black history being taught in the school. Now, me being a black man, Rick, you being a black man, and nothing against Scott here because we are loving, but
I've never been a black man.
I've never been a black man. Okay, Scott, but you love us all. right now, the history is being taught, is being borrowed, I should say, from schools in Florida. Once they go to another state, they try to ban it, teaching about Black African American studies. But Italian studies is not being banned. German studies is not being banned. Jewish is not being banned. None of those are okay, but Black studies, and they're telling us, okay, that our kids, my great-grandkids, my grandkids, cannot be taught about what I may have did in history. What some other people that have done in history that's Black. And we all know for a fact that even now, okay, the traffic light, a whole lot of things Black has been a part of. They have to, Booker T. Washington bring a lot of things that we have today. Those histories need to be told. If we don't tell our history, we're doomed to repeat it. That's what the Bible tells us. And so I think that's a bad thing to do. And I hope that doesn't. And right now, this is what the Republican Party is doing in a whole lot of ways. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good at all. Okay. And also, okay, for the first time in my lifetime, I would say in the last 70-some years, China always has been the most populous nation in the world. And they have more people than others in the world. Well, for the first time, their population is going in the opposite direction. It's shrinking. One of the things we can say about that is COVID-19 got started over in China. And what China didn't do that we did in this country, I think President Trump, he rushed through the vaccines to get them done. But China has not used those vaccines. Every country in the world used those vaccines. And China refused. And that's why the economy is going in the wrong direction. So right now we ask our case, pray that these things rectify themselves, okay, and we want to be a part of what's going on. Another thing that's before time gets out here, most of us watch TV. And one of my favorite TV programs is on Sunday night after the football game called NCIS Los Angeles. Y'all killed Jay and all the gang, they've been on there for 14 years now. Well, it just was announced that their show is being canceled. In fact, this is their last season. Not that the show is not making money. It's one of the top shows, right now for CBS. But right now, they just did a series that was highly rated, but they're gonna take them off air. And that's not what's called. The thing, because you look at NCIS, that whole series, they got to watch Hawaii now, all around the country. And even when in New Orleans was doing very well, they canceled that. But there's a reason for that, which I'm not aware of. But that's what's going on. But that's how the media works, okay? Because it's making money, okay, people. They're going to cancel it. We know how that takes place. And the one thing that I have to talk about before we get off here is this weekend, the football season is getting into the playoffs for real. As a matter of fact, this afternoon at 2:30, the Chiefs will be playing in Super Bowl, getting ready to go to the Super Bowl. We hope. We know they will. Positive. But when you get to the Super Bowl, keep in mind, every commercial you watch there that are 30 seconds long costs $7 million to be on that here. $7 million for a 30 second spot. Keep that in mind and watch that. And also here in St. Louis County, St. Louis City, carjacking and murders continue to increase into those crimes. Not just, among adults, but also amongst our kids. And on that note, we have the bring back 2023, Cheyenne Hubbard. How you doing, Cheyenne?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Life is good. How you doing? Happy New Year's to you.
Oh, Happy New Year's to you. Everything's fine over here. We're all in Kansas City getting ready for the Chiefs game.
Yeah, really, there's been people not aware, okay, if you live in Kansas City, there's been a controversy there. The controversy in Chiefs, yeah. Well, they're talking about the halftime show there. One of the things that in the Midwest, we kind of country, Western and all that kind of stuff. But the halftime show going to be a little different this Saturday. What about that, Cheyenne?
Yes, the halftime show, I believe, is going to be performed by Little John, right?
Oh, Little John.
And what was crazy, you had some of these Chief fans try to protest Lil Jon performing. They even made a petition for it.
Why was that?
You know what? They wanted to have, some of them said, we can play country music. Last time they played country music, they lost.
Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead.
I just think that's just ignorant that they even try to protest that. Like, don't watch the game. Don't listen.
Okay, Shannon, first tell me who is Little John.
Little John is a rapper. He was popular in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done
But what happened is, Cheyenne, he's a rapper, okay, that most of the Chief players, okay, have listened to over the years.
Absolutely. I think a lot of them players definitely know who Lil Jon is, and he has music that hypes people up and makes them excited. Mm-hmm. Perfect for a football game.
Yeah, you want to be uplifted, excited.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna ask you who's gonna win the game. I know you already know. Well, anyway, Shannon, one of the things I'm going to talk to you quick about, okay, we talked about earlier in the program, like people like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Wayfair and all those companies, okay, they're cutting a lot of jobs, why, what's going on with that?
Well, I truly think we're in a recession. You can see that we're definitely in a recession. Look at how much grocery prices are, how expensive everything is around you. It's getting real ridiculous. And the companies are trying to cut their losses, basically, even though I feel like some of these companies are definitely price gouging currently.
Tell us about that egg. Tell us about eggs in Kansas City.
Eggs around here, I just bought some. I saw some recently. They were almost like $12 for like an 18 pack. Which
Come again, $12 for 18
it's
eggs.
crazy. Eggs should not be that much. And they try to blame it on the flu, but the egg companies who are selling these eggs, right, have reported record-breaking profits. So it's just really, I think, rooted in price gouging. They try and blame it on the avian flu, but those companies who are making record-breaking profits haven't had any cases of the avian flu.
But see, Shannon, that's the thing nowadays. The thing nowadays, okay, that people and companies don't understand that there was a time, okay, you would tell me a lie, and I had to accept your lie as being facts. But with research that we have nowadays, you can go out and do your own research and look at the records, of the profit these companies are making, and they're forgetting about that.
With internet nowadays, with social media, people are more connected than ever. And you can see people are talking across the country how unfair this is.
And also, Shannon, this past year, okay, something you said, something you've been talking about for years on this program, and I know this is something we hadn't talked about before the show, but over the years, okay, I listened to you talk about your high school days, your grade school days, how when you went to school, that most parents were not aware, your parents weren't aware, I know I talked to them personally, that what you went through every day, using grade school and high school, the drills that you went through, going through metal detector, preparing for shooters and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about how that is now affecting the kids. Talking about how we have more school shooters now, where we have people in grade school bringing guns to school, shooting teachers and stuff.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
What's crazy is that I think what's happening is that a lot of it is untreated mental illness and kids not getting checked for certain stuff. But also, just in society, how easy it is for like some of these kids to get a gun because their parents didn't lock up their guns properly. Like, you have example for that 6-year-old who shot up his teacher. He got the gun from his mother, who she bought it legally, right, but it wasn't locked up. How does a 6-year-old get a gun? That's ridiculous. And I think a lot of what's going to happen is that some of these parents need to get charged along with their kids.
Okay, that's that. Yeah, let me stop you right there, okay? And I'm going to use you as an example if you don't mind, okay? One of the reasons that we have Shannon on this show started years ago, we wanted to hear what the young people are thinking, okay? He was, I call a Zoomer in that generation, okay? That's future leaders and stuff, and he talked about it in the past, with our country commission, okay? Now, in your house, okay, your family have their own show called Earth American Outdoors, which shows you how to hunt. You go hunt all type of animals and birds and all that kind of stuff. So you have guns in your house, but do you see, how did your family store their guns? Let's talk about that first.
I don't even know how they store it because I've never seen them. It's put away. But personally, I have no clue where it's at. I can tell you that much.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
And that's how it should be. Like, kids should not know. Growing up, I didn't know what was going on. Kids should not know where the guns are in the house. It should be in a safe space, right? And I can tell you for a fact, it's getting real ridiculous out here. Since I was a little girl, I remember going through school shooting drills. I got like every couple of months we would go through it. Be like, we had to go sit in a corner and be like, and they would say, lights locked out of sight, lights locked out of sight. And so that's how you know.
Say it again.
Yeah, lights locked out of sight. And so typically,
This is in grade school.
I think that that's from when I went to middle school.
Middle school,
So,
okay.
I was only like 11 then, so I was really young.
Okay.
And I can remember going to the back of the classroom, our teachers having to lock the doors and turn off the lights. And it definitely, it was the conversation that got brought up, once in a while. Like, do you have an escape plan if something goes on? Because always when I got in a classroom, I would have an escape plan just in case something goes south.
Okay, now let me ask another question, okay? Did you go home and tell your parents about this was going on in school? Did you tell your parents about this?
No, I thought it was just normal. Because it was just so common. We did this quite often. Like, it was just like a tornado drill.
Mm-hmm.
We had tornado drills where you would go down, cover your head, or go down to the basement of the school.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like that. Just really normal.
And the reason I asked you that question, okay, I talked to your parents, okay, and they were shocked, okay, to know that you and I already talked about that they were not aware, okay. So I'm saying that to say to people that listen to this program, talk to your kids, okay. Like we just talk about, what's taking place, kids have fear, and they're going to try to protect themselves. And you've been taught that. They've been taught that. So come on. So, I mean, that's something that we got to understand, that this is some serious stuff, people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I can remember, at least around when I was like, I think I had to be in 11th grade, this kid attempted to bring a gun to the school. It was really scary. Extremely scary. And that's going to stick with me for the rest of life. And all the people in my little high school, that's going to stick with them. And that's like 1,000 students traumatized by this one incident.
Wow.
And it was a really big thing. I got to school and there was I think it was 20 cops there. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And they said, someone posted on their social media a gun pic. It was next to a fast food box. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Let me call my parents to pick me up because I am not staying here.
Wow, and it was fortunate, because you had a cell phone.
Yeah, and see, that's why I think younger kids are getting cell phones even more quickly than other kids back in the day, because I think I got my first cell phone when I was 11 years old. It was right after Sandy Hooks.
Oh my God, yes.
And I think that's what really made kids grow up, because we all fully expected something to happen, something to change after Sandy Hooks, but nothing changed. That was 10 years ago.
Well, no, let me say one thing, okay? One thing has changed, okay? There was a gentleman, okay, that got profited off of that, guy, Mr. Jones, okay, on social media. He did a radio show, social program, talk shows, saying that Sandy Hook did not take place. It was a figment of people's imagination.
Yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, and when most recently, okay, he went to court, and now he's paying almost $1 billion because the judges enrolled, and he's still in court paying money, okay, for the other cases coming up. That he's paying for his claim. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I can remember him lying and saying those kids weren't killed. It was a shame that, he made a full-blown conspiracy theory and promoted it on his internet radio show, right? And he was spreading this theory and hurting, those parents whose kids got killed. They had to hear that over and over, and people were calling him liars. It was just a disgusting thing that this man has done. And I think it's good that he has to pay money. It just shows, it just shows that you can't spread misinformation like that, because it's damaging.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, okay. Earlier on, we talked about Rupert Murdoch. I know you mean the communicator. By the way, Cheyenne just graduated from college, okay, cum laude. in Kansas City, Missouri, Missouri, Kansas City, cum laude. And she studied in communications, okay? And she's been our guest, been our own host on this show, our show for, we're going about 2 or 3 years now, right, Shane?
Yes, absolutely. It has been.
And also she does other shows also. But, and so we have our own, because we want people to hear what young people are thinking about what's actually going on. And so now, Cheyenne, Rupert Murdoch, you didn't even know who he is. You're not aware, he's the owner of Fox News around the world. And he just got deposed because of a lawsuit, just like the one they did against Jones over Sandy Hook that's taking place now against Fox News, a company named Dominion Voting System is suing them for almost $2 billion. For defamation suit, that during the 2020 election, that Donald Trump actually won the election, and now people on the air personalities, Tucker Carlson, Kennedy, and all those people, most of their hosts have been deposed, and all of them located to a person that said they knew they were lying on the air, and they said that Donald Trump had won.
Yeah, it's just propaganda, misinformation.
and that misinformation, okay, is about to cost Fox News almost $2 billion when it's all over with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me say this to you, okay, being a communication major, how many minds have been affected by that? How can we change that?
Well, the crazy thing is that with the age of social media,
mm-hmm.
with the misinformation everywhere, it is millions of people across the country, across the globe, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the people with the January 6th stuff, which is another messy topic. You have people.
Tell us how many young people are looking at that. How you guys looking? How you guys digesting that?
Well, the crazy thing with the January 6th thing is that we truly are just over it. Trump should have definitely been arrested earlier, and all the people who were involved with the January 6th should have been arrested when it first happened.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, it took 2 whole years, and it's still going on. This what is it called? The court system is still took 2 whole years. Not everyone's arrested. They're still running around. You have people who were believing that Donald Trump was really elected, and they were promoting this misinformation. They're in Congress. Some of them are in Congress making laws. It just doesn't give hope to the average person. We don't have much hope and faith in our, government right now.
And I haven't said that, Shane. How do you feel about this? We all watched we know for people that are aware that in the House of Representatives, that the Republicans have a majority for the first time in like years, I would say. And every time they change leadership, to get rid of the change, you have to elect a leader. Okay, and that's called a speaker. And and we watched that election for the speaker. Okay, we go around about 15 times. We've made history. So now that we are here now, we have one man who voted in that, Mr. Santos. Everyone knows who he is right now. How does that make you feel that he sits in Congress, having told all type of lies?
Oh, the George Santos thing is crazy. That man is a pathological liar. He lied about almost every aspect of his life, and he's making laws. And it's crazy because they won't out him or make him leave, because I think the Republican side might be scared that they're going to lose their majority.
Well, okay, for people not aware, okay, tell us about John Santos, Congressman Santos, some of the things that
So one of the things he lied about is that his mother died because of 9/11. His mother wasn't even in the country when 9/11 happened, according to, just passport records and stuff like that. He made a GoFundMe for her. Okay, he stole people money. He also lied and said that he was Jewish and said that his grandparents survived the Holocaust.
And that's very touching to a lot of people.
That is, that makes speechless. The other thing is that he lied about being, let me see. Turns out he was in Brazil. He did tax fraud over there and escaped Brazil. And I guess he has an arrest warrant out for him. If he ever goes back to Brazil, he's going to get arrested.
And also, the one thing, okay, that I know that you can speak to, one thing that you're very proud of right now, okay, is you graduated from Lyles, from University of Missouri, Kansas City. You're proud of your school that you went to, okay? And then you're also proud of the high school you went to. Those things people live by. What high school did you go to? What college did you go to?
I went to Sumner Academy. That's my high school. And then I went to the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And then, I'm very proud of those schools. But also, how I got my beginning was I went to a local community college that really helped a lot, which is called Kansas City, Kansas Community College. So I'm proud of all the education and hard work I put into my education.
So how does that make you feel when you hear him learn about the college or the school that he went to?
The more I learn about him, the less shocked I am. But it's still pretty shocking that no one was, when he was first running, no one checked this to see if he's lying about any of that. When you apply to a job anywhere else, you have to go through some sort of background check. They just obviously did not do that.
Right. And that's not a Republican situation. Democrats normally do, check out, the background of people that they run up against.
Oh yeah, the Democratic Party in New York is still to blame for this because they should have did a background check as well. Because the way he was able to win should have never happened. One lie could have took him down because it would have been a domino effect. But no one seemed to check.
People love their money, okay, and the fact that he came up with $700,000 that he donated to the Republican Party in New York, and matter of fact, they have given the money back. They don't want the money. But somebody to give me $700,000, okay, and I would want to find out, who this person is, give me a little bit about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And no one checked. It's crazy. Because this is the second, I read this is the second time he ran.
Right.
And no one for multiple years never checked about him or anything he has done. Because this easily could have been slam dunk for, the Democrats out there.
Well, that's why right now, okay, if there's a special election, which question? Well, let me say this, okay. If he's expelled from Congress, that means that district has to have a special election for someone to represent that district. And they know, and I said that the Speaker of the House ought to understand that if he lost, in which he would lose, and we never know how election is going to turn out, okay, but for the most part, he probably would lose. And so that means that the Republican Party will be one vote short of being in their majority. Now, let me ask you another thing here, okay? Now, you should be a well-versed person, okay? there's a lot of talk in our country right now, and a lot of states right now are banning TikTok. So tell me a little bit how you feel about TikTok.
You know what? With the banning of TikTok, they should definitely. I feel like it's just censorship, honestly, because it's an app that the young people use.
Now tell me about TikTok. What TikTok?
TikTok is a video social media app, basically. It's not too different from other apps.
Mm-hmm.
Where, on Facebook you can watch videos, but TikTok is just based on videos and people posting their stories.
Mm-hmm.
But the simple fact that they're trying to, block TikTok is alarming to me, because it makes me think, what else could they block? What else type of speech will they be able to take down? And they try to say it's for security, but we can know, like, Facebook, for instance, had a lawsuit against security. Other social media, Twitter is just, not doing too good right now, and it also has been in the news recently for security issues.
Okay, now you brought up Twitter. Okay, he's not aware. Okay, Elon Musk. Okay, is not a American.
Yeah, he's from South Africa.
Right.
His family.
Okay. Go ahead.
And so, Elon Musk is basically the man who is over Tesla and SpaceX, which is a space company. Well, yeah, basically. But
no, SpaceX. We don't talk about SpaceX, okay? But SpaceX is sponsored right now. Most of our flights up to the space station, possibly going to the moon, and also for satellites that they got up in the sky. I mean, that company is. We don't talk about that SpaceX a lot, but it's a very valuable company in some cases, probably more so than Tesla, in the way and the effect it has around the world.
Yeah, and what does he know about running a social media company? He does not know. I'm on Twitter occasionally, and I can see over time the app is glitchy now. That it doesn't work as well.
Glitchy.
Glitchy is basically it's not working as well. It has some errors or certain stuff. Like if you try to make a post, sometimes it won't post. Sometimes people's accounts won't show up. But he right now is hemorrhaging money. He is not making any money off of this. He is losing money rapidly. $1 billion.
You said something earlier on that, and that what does he know about running a social media app like that? Well, if he's not aware, the company, Twitter, was actually started by a man from here in St. Louis, Mr. Dorsey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right, yeah. And when they had a headquarters in California, San Francisco, and also had a headquarters here in Louis. And it's not thought about in the news that much, okay? But I raised Mr. Dorsey for a reason, okay? Now, if you're a man that was raised in St. Louis, okay? A man that was raised in South Africa, okay? Your whole introduction to life is different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Your whole approach to life is different.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because he was born, Elon Musk, I believe, was born in South Africa during, apartheid. Mm-hmm. And for those who do not know, Elon Musk is white. Mm-hmm. Which makes me think, like, how did his family get their money originally?
In South Africa, it's diamond mine.
Yeah, his family were definitely, like, original. I don't know. They weren't there originally. They weren't from there originally.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
So right now,
his father owns an emerald mine. So I guess that's where he got his money from, is that his father owned this emerald mine that black labor.
Mm-hmm.
So his mindset is probably, I don't know, not the best.
Mm-hmm. So right now you ask a question, okay? You got a man grew up in the Midwest, okay, and he built this Twitter company, okay, from scratch. I actually watched him do it, just kind of follow him, how he did this stuff, okay? The money put into it, the people he hired, it made him one of the most successful companies in the world. To be honest with you, Twitter is used all around the world, not just in this country, okay?
Yes.
And that is, almost any country in the world, and people right now use Twitter right now to communicate with people. But Twitter's not just something that kids play with. This is something that people, movie stars. Sometimes people, before they talk to their family on any given day, they get really that Twitter. What did I miss last night?
Yeah, Twitter's like a new newspaper for a lot of people, because you can get your information pretty rapidly. When there's an event, a major event going on, I check Twitter. Twitter. Oh, let me see what's happening. Whenever there's a game going on, I want to see what other people are like. Let's say, for example, today when the Chiefs game happened, I'm going to see what Twitter's saying and what my fellow people who follow the Chiefs are saying, because I'm curious.
Okay. So it's a gathering place.
Yeah, it's a gathering.
Okay. And so now, having said that, would you be safe to say, as I put you on the spot here, okay? Hope you don't mind this, okay? But really, this is something that's in people's mind, for lack of a better description. Agree?
What did you say?
This is something in a person's mind, okay? Twitter is actually in your mind, something you think about. Into your psyche.
Yes, absolutely. Because, you know what? It is a great news source if you know what you're looking for. Some people can fall down the wrong space. Mm-hmm. But if you try to keep it neutral or look at different sources, it can be a powerful, extremely powerful resource.
Now, the thing, Shan, I have to admit that's blowing my mind, okay, is I'm watching all of the people that he's fired, okay, in the job that they had, okay, the one they said that used to kind of make sure that the right content was being put on the air. Those people that just fired from the company. The people that guarded, what kids was what advertisers was spending, all that kind of stuff. But all those people have been fired from Twitter now. So right now the shields, okay, of the safeguard, I would say, like better shit, okay, to me, see that been stripped away. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, can you repeat that? I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that?
So let me put it this way. It seems as though there's Elon Musk took over Twitter. That the people that he's fired, let go, laid off, quit, were the ones, okay, that actually was running Twitter, made it what it was today, in terms of protecting,
oh yeah, definitely. I think Twitter definitely has a security risk.
Yeah, security risk, and all those people see that.
Yeah, because he fired almost all the staff, and most of the staff that he didn't fire quit, and the ones who are still there are the ones kind of forced to be there because they're on a visa, so they can't leave.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And see, what's crazy about this is that Twitter definitely has a security risk. I'm amazed it's still up, but it's if you fire those many people. They were probably someone was doing something that was important, and the next person won't know what to do with it. They're looking at someone else's work and I'm just guessing what they did. And, you know, I don't think we should, limit the speech on there. But recently, ever since Elon Musk came back, like took over Twitter and bought it, because I think he was forced to buy it after a lawsuit. After he's forced to buy it, I think I read that 500 times, like 500%. Let me make sure I'm saying this right before I misspoke. Elon Musk Twitter. I can remember you could see so many slurs on that website. It was ridiculous. Because they said the use of the N-word on Twitter jumped by 500% after Elon Musk takes over. And Crows test the limit on free speech to like 500%. That like slurs were just getting said on their site.
Like that's right. Like now, the people we're talking about now, people who now go there and kind of. There's so much hate in the world right now, and it's being spread. Like nothing. Propaganda right now is almost going on Twitter right now. Let me say something.
Yes, I can see some of it, but you have people who try to combat that by spreading, other information. And, I'm not shocked that this is happening at all, because this hate isn't something that's new, honestly, because just look at, the history of the United States. Like, the hate has been there for generations, and it's just never been checked, personally.
Okay, well, now, thank you to that, okay. What are your thoughts, about in Florida, that what the governor is doing down there? And what happens, he's not aware, he's changing, making rules, okay, that Black history cannot be taught in, they call it critical race theory, other than guys, but now Black studies cannot be, American studies cannot be taught. Jewish can be taught, Italian, all of the other history can be told. And I guess how do you feel, okay, knowing that the history that you know about Black people, okay, especially what took place in Tulsa with the family came from, you can tell that story. What do you thoughts about that?
Well, him banning that is just rooted in racism, period, point blank. And the fact is, they don't want the younger generation to learn history. They want to dumb down the younger generation, I feel like. With them changing the textbooks, with them attempting not to teach history, these people are ashamed of their history, I feel like. Because it's going to look negative to, America. But that's what happened. You can't ignore what took place in the past. Like, it's shameful, but to move forward, you have to talk about it. Like, in Florida, they had something similar to the Tulsa race massacre, and it's called Rosewood, I think.
Yes, it was.
Yes, and if they're not teaching that,
real well talked about.
Yeah, if they're not teaching that,
they moves about it, okay, and it's talking about, but right now, what the governor's doing now, he's saying, don't tell that story no more.
Yeah, and it's just, I think, disrespectful and hateful and harmful. It's extremely harmful because the next generation, it's just, this leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Let me help you out, okay? To me personally, okay, when I'm getting here, okay, if you have to be a student, okay, there was a school in the state of Florida, and you went to a state university, okay? So they taught all type of history, but not as much they can about Black history, okay? They probably could talk more. But now, having said it, okay, if you're going to school in Florida and went to another university someplace else, you'd be having, they talking about the road or stuff like that. And they say, this was in your state. You what are you talking about?
Yeah. And it's just going to the students in Florida, that's not fair to them.
No, it's not.
At all, because...
When the last time the students go?
Because I think they said, from what I can read, they're able to teach, like, it said Japanese language, and it's an advanced placement class. So these are students who willingly want to go out and learn this stuff. They apply to go to these advanced placement classes. So they have Japanese placement language and culture. You have the Chinese language and culture, and European language and culture, basically. And
but no black.
They're not trying to teach African American history, which is just plainly American history.
Thank you.
You can't just erase.
How can you separate Black American history, okay? Black American history from our country. And we were, here, the Native American Indian was here before anybody else. Because, and they tell us stories. We already know that our good friend MC Richardson, okay, his family owned land, okay, in Oklahoma, where they stole, where they have oil at now. They were put out there. And there's lawsuits going on right now around the country, okay? That's how people's land was stolen. That's about oil company.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy because I feel like they don't want the younger generation to learn some of this stuff.
Why is that?
Because I feel like they might think the younger generation is going to look at their grandparents and parents and think, hey, what did you do back then?
Okay.
And I have seen this happen personally with my own eyes. Okay. I had this one friend, he went to, I guess, he might have been homeschooled or private school. He didn't know anything really past the civil rights movement, and he thought the civil rights movement ended racism, and that it was so crazy to watch this. And then he thought it was acceptable to call black people coloreds. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is really crazy. And he just did not know because no one ever taught him. He never got any history.
Yeah, you just mentioned something there, okay? And this is not what generation, but the red generation, my generation, in our 70s. I remember when I was in grade school, then we were first it was called Negroes. We were called Negroes. Then we were called colors. As a matter of fact, water fountains and bus stations and restaurants, you were saying that color section here. As a matter of fact, those sections still down in Georgia, those different signs they had then.
Ooh.
And what's still there. And then, then we became colors. Then we became blacks, and then we said, right, help me out here. We became blacks. Then we became African American. Well, behind that, okay, we're still black, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And although our name has changed, okay, but I have not seen the name white people name change. They stay who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're not white.
Right, Scott. Come on, Scott. There you go. Yeah, no, that's the whole story. You don't tell that story, Scott. That's the whole thing about it, what I'm saying.
You know what's really crazy? I could just talk from my standpoint. Even growing up when, I had semi-good education, right? But they never taught, history in the 1960s that much, or what happened during the Civil Rights Movement. Mm-hmm. I went to a historical black high school. They really did not teach that, which is shameful. And
grade school I did too.
And so, the most we learned about was Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. Mm-hmm. we didn't learn anything past that, which I think our education system needs a whole revamp because it is a hot mess. And I could tell that the rest of the country is not learning much, Black history at all. But to eliminate it is even worse. And I think that's what they're trying to do.
No, Shane, I have heard you today several times here. But it seems like, okay, that people your generation didn't know what happened prior to Martin Luther King time in the 60s, okay?
No, because basically we had one conversation about slavery, and then it was nothing else about that. The most of my education came from me, my parents, my grandparents, and uncles talking about this certain stuff. Like, oh, this happened back in the day. It just blew my mind. I was like, you had to do what? You had to go.
Well, in your case, Shane, you had a doctor. Your grandfather was a doctor.
Yeah, he was no, I think it was my great grandfather. Yes.
Your great-grandfather, on your mother's side, yes. I'm talking.
Yeah, and the way he was able to get the degree is because he was I figured it out because it never passed down of how he was able to become a doctor and a dentist at the same time. So he was a servant to this philanthropist, and the philanthropist saw a really brilliant man. He's like, wow, you're very smart, and he gave him money to go to college.
Okay.
And that's the only way he was able to make it. If someone didn't help him, that would have never happened at all.
Okay. And I'm gonna bring our good friend Chuck DeBow into the conversation, okay? Good afternoon, Chuck. How you doing, brother?
Good afternoon. And how you
doing, Chuck?
My brother. Right.
Okay. Now, Chuck, I'm gonna put you in the fire right away, okay? In the case of your family, okay, in Indianapolis, okay, your family, and what I was just saying to Sharon when you came into the conversation, okay, that in her generation, under the Zoomers right now, they're saying that black folks wasn't anything going on before Martin Luther King. That's when black folks, something I'm doing now is, when you get to your family, okay, your family, the Bow family goes way back in Indianapolis. This black kid. Tell us about your family roots in Indianapolis.
Well, it's a very similar scenario that my maternal grandfather came from Mississippi. And I believe he was he was by himself, I believe, and he was 12 or 14 years old. And he was trying to get to Chicago, but ran out of money and made it as far as Indianapolis. And he became he was just working in the train station as a shoe shine boy. And he happened to shine shoes for John Philip Sousa. And very similar type.
Who's John Philip Sousa? You know, tell us about who John Philip Sousa is.
John Philip Sousa is the composer, band leader that did a lot of the marches and national music for I believe it might have been the Marines. I'll get the facts on that.
Yeah, it was Marines.
And when you hear those big band, marching band type stuff that the military had, he wrote a number of those. And John Philip, he basically took him from that shoe shine box and made him his valet, and took him on the road with him as his valet. And there's all kinds of speculation that he could have been. I mean, this is the story, but my brother, in researching this story, because he was suspicious about about random act of kindness and the randomness of it. And there's belief that my grandfather, I almost said great grandfather, was my mother's father, that he could have been an illegitimate child of John Philip Sousa, because for whatever reason, a lot of my mother's family had names that were similar to the Sousa family. And so there were suspicions there and other things that they discovered. And so let me I pulled it up, so I wanted to give the facts. And let me just read a couple sentences here. John Philip Sousa was an American composer and conductor of the late Romantic era, known primarily for American military marches. He is known as the March King, or the American March King, to distinguish him from British counterpart Kenneth J. Alfred. Amongst his best-known marches are the Stars and Stripes Forever, the National March of the United States, Semper Fidelis, the official march of the United States Marine Corps, Liberty Bell, the Thunderer, and the Washington Post. So he was a musician and a composer, and essentially, as America's military traveled the world, he was kind of, as they brought the band in, and they would have him there to really help propagandize America and the American military and its participation. And so this was John Philip was born in 1854. So let's say this was right at the turn of the century, or even a little bit before that, and it was predating World War II. So John Philip Sousa gave him this job, and we have my grandfather's passport that showed. I mean, he was in places like Russia back in the 30s and the 20s, and even before that. So at some point, they reached a place where John Philip said, this isn't the life for you. You need to go to school, and paid for him and sent him to Indiana University, and actually financed him going to dental school. And I think, Cheyenne, you said your great grandfather was a dentist, so there's some similarities there. And my grandfather is the other part of the story is he's fair enough complexion wise that he passed. He was getting away with stuff and not being singled out. He was passed. My mother's father was very fair complected, and so there's no doubt that there's some let's say European blood in our DNA, in our heritage. So he went and basically completed school, started his family, and set each one of his children up in a similar fashion. Not each one, the boys. All the boys were set up with a business. One in the moving industry, and then two of the others were in the funeral homes. And back in those days, you could, funeral homes were some of the core pillars of black society with it. Yeah, so, and moving was another thing that you had to have a black mover. And as the industrial era came about, and as the World War II ended, there were government programs and other things like that to allow for military veterans to have credit or support for acquiring homes. And that's kind of like part of, I think, St. Louis, Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, and as that industrial revolution came about, that's when all these people started buying homes. And the economic, the GDI, the overall economic production of our country went up significantly because of the GI Bill and the advent of the Industrial Revolution. Now, that's a lot to take in on I think, the core subject here about history and what we're talking about. And
can I ask you what his name was? Your grandfather?
Yeah, his William Weir Stewart, Stuart. So anybody in Indianapolis, ask them about Stewart's Moving or Stewart's Mortuary, especially if their family's been there for generations. And at one time, they were the only businesses in those sectors. He was one of the first black dentists, and he was also the moving company and the funeral home. They were staples of society there. And
just a record. Stop for 1 second, okay? Just for the record, okay? Change the genealogy trade. That you went into. So go ahead, check that.
Yeah. So if you go on Ancestry.com or one of the other ones, some of my relatives have started constructing that family tree element, and you can see some stuff there. But the point is that we all have history. I mean, I think it was really brought to the forefront with Alex Haley and Roots, and brought it to the forefront that everybody's got a story. And now with this DNA testing and the other things that are going on, it's allowing some definition to be added to it. And when we talk about what's going on with society, and I think I came in, were you talking about Governor Santos and the...
Right.
Okay. So regardless of his particular motivation, which everybody is just saying is racist and so forth, but in that environment, it's kind of like, you know, in the realm of law, we ask why, and often the answer is because they can. And I think it's up to us, as in other cultures, particularly let's use, for example, the Jewish culture, that they take responsibility for their own history. You know, we're not taught anything about Hispanic or Jewish or Asian. I mean, you get it a little bit later on in your education of world history, and you start talking about people, but we're not really studying religion or culture, and a lot of that's been taken out of our curriculum, our basic default curriculum. And that's where I believe that at this point, we can be mad all we want, or we can be disgruntled all we want, but it's like, Cheyenne, you were saying that what you really learned came from your parents. But the default of it is that it is taught in English schools in the United Kingdom. It is taught around the world. And they don't have the same, let's say, prejudice about it, because they don't feel, or they're not embracing a responsibility for it. Even though there obviously is, they're not saying that, because the conversation for the American side of it is that these folks don't want their kids feeling guilty. And if they feel guilty, then they're likely to go for reparations, and who knows what all could come out of that. But it's happening anyway as people wake up. And it's kind of like when you say, don't play with fire to a child, well, the first thing they want to know is why not? You know, I mean, it's human nature is that don't do this, don't do that, and because you have not quantified the value of the rule, or the you know, what you're telling them. You know, so a lot of us played with fire until we got burnt, and then we knew all about it, and we knew how to better convey that. So when you tell somebody don't do this or don't do that, or you just raise them on legacy type of mentalities, that mentality can be defaulted into prejudiceness or racism, or you know, somebody, a little kid jumping up and saying something racially, you know, whether it's the N word or the F word for gay people, or any of that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, they heard that somewhere. You know, it's within that. We are products of our environment, and so as you do that, maybe it takes a little while, but those same kids are most likely to marry outside their culture or to involve. It's kind of. I used to use an example that there were children whose parents were preachers or involved in religion. And it was a default type of thing that those kids are supposed to be pristine and know morals and know not to do this or not to do that. Well, those girls are the first one to say, well, I need to know about the society. I need to know about life. I need to date. I need to go out here and meet people and see what's going on. And, you know, if it's about smoking a cigarette or having a drink or whatever, the more you told them not to do it, the more they were trying to do it. On the other hand, more kids that had freedoms, liberties for self-discovery did not have the same motivation to go out and experiment with various things. So as we do, similar to like other cultures, because not only are we talking about religion, you know, we're talking about music, home economics, shop, like learning how to be a carpenter or fix things and use your hands, auto mechanics. All those were things that were part of school, but we never ever had. I never ever had anything necessarily about slavery. And when they got into the Emancipation Proclamation, it was years later before you realize it was really about slavery. It was about free labor. So it's crept into our education, into our society, into our learning, but it isn't, as you might say, unwrapped, you know, drilled down into the further. So we have some superficiality about what is our education. I mean, it's just like, how many people never heard or knew anything about Buffalo Soldiers or the Tuskegee Airmen or, you know, the Black Tank Division, you know, the Army, or who these people were, not to mention inventions, educators, and there's a lot of stuff right now that we're not being attributed for. Go ahead.
No, I just mentioned to Airmen also, doing the story I told about there. In fact, that's a good example on Tuskegee. You know, there were two sides to that. You know, they talked about what took place in terms of the medical field, okay, about Tuskegee, but they didn't tell about how well they were the powers, okay, and never lost a mission. You know, and how successful they were.
And that's a story that a lot of those bombers, pilots that they protected, they wanted to. They felt like, hey, give these guys their just due. You know, give them their respect. Right. But on the other hand, if it wasn't for George Lucas, and I think it was $100 million or whatever he invested in the film, and against everybody telling him, oh, you'll never make the money back. However, that thing has a earning residual in perpetuity. It will go forever because it is now a place for history, a source for historical recollection.
What movie was that, Chuck? What movie was that?
I think it's called Red Tails.
Okay.
You know, and it took over 10 years for it to be made. I mean, you know, they had been planning it and talking about it, and a lot of actors were hoping to be in line to play a role in it, but it just never ever was getting shot. You know, they're going into production. But you know, we're talking about how you can't really stop history. You know, there's a story about. There was a time when I believe it was the Japanese enslaved the Chinese, and I think it's Nantuk, something like that. But it wasn't part of anybody's history, and except the Chinese were saying we'll never forget, and that's kind of like somebody making that movie about it or these different stories. That now it becomes part of history, or to the point where there's like, that wasn't in any history books. You know, we didn't know about that. And, you know, there are these kinds of stories and things coming out, and there's lots of them. and certainly in Africa, and as we get into how leaderships or the colonization and what happened and how it happened, and there's elements. I mean, like understanding Africa had all the gold, but then what happened? They changed the game to where gold was no longer the standard. And
okay,
so what is...
I have to cut you off. You're amazing. And the rest of us, okay? This has been an interesting show, but we have to get Chuck in here now, talk about the National Chamber of Commerce and the gains that we have made, okay, as far as exposing all the things that we're talking about now, and how yesterday we had a very powerful Zoom call, we just said so, Chuck, about something that affects a lot of black folks, okay, that the National Chamber of Commerce is involved with, as well as some other things, Chuck. I'm better what's on with your chamber right now, if you don't mind. This will be continued, okay? Having going on.
Well, I mean, yes, but it relates in that.
It all relates, yes, it does.
It relates in that, and let me see if I can tie it together real quick.
You can.
Our communities, the core of our communities have to do with economics.
Thank you.
And economics have to do with how you use, part of it is your ability to use your vote. I mean, in terms of what's going on in the schools or what's going on in the public sector about these we call wastelands where there's no grocery stores or even in the point where the schools, desert, all these things going on. So part of that has to do with how do we economically empower. One of the tools is being used against us, or and we're having not fully appreciate the value of it, is credit. What is your credit?
You did a good job, Chuck.
So we are looking at something simple like a credit score. That you don't really have a choice on anything. It's all kind of made up for us, and we're in a system that says, okay, they pull you up and say, okay, well, we ain't got to give you that rate of a loan, or we don't have to give you any loan. But it was determined by science, by statistics, by facts, that if you have a 720 credit score and you own a business, you're immediately qualifying for at least $1 million in access to capital. And by not paying attention to the little details and how it works and challenging, and then taking it on a whole nother level, that during this eviction process, there's some lying going on. I mean, there being things that being rules and laws and things like being imposed on us that are not factual, law, and truthful. But if you get a letter from a credit bureau that says, well, we've canceled your loan, and as a result, you've got to pay this or do that, or you're going to be foreclosed on. Your mortgage is canceled. So there's a lot of science and information. We're coming with a program on credit education. It's really financial literacy, but it's all part of it. And it relates to business credit as well as individuals, because a lot of these loans or your credit worthiness has to do with your personal assets and your personal credit scores, those sorts of things. So that's core of it, but it links right to opportunity, as in contracting, and the other part of it is, I've mentioned it before, but there's this new category. I mean, it's not really new, but how it's being used.
It's new to us, Chuck. It's new to us.
Okay, so that category is minority. And how many white folks can be minorities? Well, why is LBGT so vital and important, and really kind of foreshadowing now the civil rights movement? And one of the things that we did as a people, and not necessarily being critical in the hindsight, but to say that we did not focus on economics with the civil rights movement. We went political, and we got in bed with these political philosophies. In the meantime, We could be in Congress, we could be in the Senate, we could even be in the White House. But the numbers for black business are way down. And so when they went and said, well, we're going to do this for minorities, and, you know, blacks are in minorities, but so are 5 or 6 other types of individuals and cultures and business dispositions and economic dispositions. And so what happened is now we're even getting less than we were before this ploy of minority sensitivity. And so that's where we're coming out now with black. We don't want to know about the black side of it. What are you really doing for black business, Mr. Corporate CEO, who's saying that you're giving $1 billion to black or to minority or to whatever, and then the banks and the statistics and everything else are showing it's $40 billion out here never left your bank account. You know, so what are the stats behind that? Why? And not to necessarily be critical. I mean, to you know, want to fight with them, but as much as understand the statistics, the facts, and the impact of how much racism is costing you. You know, if it's really like you don't care so much about this, that, and the other, you care about your money, or this, I don't know how many trillions of dollars the U.S. is in debt, and we're concerned about defaulting on that, and our credit ratings globally going down, and all the things involved with that. So it's all, you know, it's a big topic.
Chuck, right now, I can tell you, say, $31 trillion.
Yeah, it's like, you know, does anybody even take that serious? What does that mean? How does it translate?
Yes, $31 trillion. It's as long as they own you, you'll never go broke.
Well, you know, and that's part of what I was saying about Africa and gold. They converted it to paper money. They converted the value system, the global monetary system, to paper money. That's what? A trust factor to say how much is your printer running today? You know, it used to be you could only print so much money based on how much gold you had. Well, all the gold was in Africa. And once they realized that, they told the Africans that you want to be out here in the global monetary system, you got to convert to money. But we'll tell you what, we'll buy your gold for you. So, you know, they look over their left shoulder and tell them, hey, get the printers going. We're going to print some money up and go over here and take these people's gold.
You know, Chuck, I got to tell you right now, Scott didn't give us our reminder, but we're right up on the hour. So tell us, you did an excellent job of saying, once we're going for the National Human Congress now, how you focus going forward. I put that to you, put that right.
We're going to be on Thursday and Friday. We'll be in Orlando, Florida, with the National Business League, the National Alliance for Black Business Forum, World Conference of Mayors Convention. And we're going to make some press announcements. I'll give you a preview. We're announcing the scorecard that we're going to have that relates to that data I was talking about black business. We're also coming with a black business certification. You know how they have an NBE for minority business and a WBE for women-owned, but we're going to have a BBE, which is a black business enterprise. And a number of corporations have already committed. We're going to announce the first cities that are going to adapt it, and we're going to move forward. And then we'll have another event coming up in Washington, D.C. in February that we'll be talking about, that we're sitting down with the branches of government as well as the White House itself, and we're going to get brief, and we're going to tell them what we're doing, and we're going to kind of like ask them where you stand on it.
Okay, now Chuck, having said that,
Amen.
This is the London Resort of Human Commerce. That is Chuck DeBow, that's Cheyenne Hubbard, our third Saturday in the month time, and she did an excellent job today. That's Scott, who was kind of under the weather. That's a 5-minute break there. But my name is Alfred. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. And Chuck, you can close us out here. Your turn.
I'll just tell everybody that, you know, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay reverent to your beliefs. And good things are coming, but it only comes if you make that first step. So we pray together, we hold hands, and we walk down this path together. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Amen.
That's nothing to do about your income.